I, 30F, love my husband, 30M, and he's an amazing man, but we have flaws like everyone else. We both aged out of foster care and met at a youth fulfillment program, basically a work camp that helps kids with no families learn the fundamentals of living, finances, and certificates. We were both 18 and stayed in contact after the program ended. He made it clear he liked me, but I was truly petrified of men at that point in my life due to past experiences and rejected him a bit harshly. I reached out to apologize, and we became friends. Then, a year or two later, I saw that he had posted on Snapchat that he was in my area. I asked if he would want to go on a date so I could practice being comfortable around guys, and he agreed. He never made a move, never touched me, never made weird eye contact. If I said no, he didn't ask a second time, not even as a suggestion. We went on these platonic dates for months, with nothing happening. One day, I asked for a hug, and then asked for a kiss, and he asked me to be his girlfriend. We got married a year after, and our 7-year anniversary is around the corner. We agreed we wouldn't even think about having kids until we were older since both of us were the product of young parents. We've really just focused on getting by using as little money as possible and saving up every dime to buy a house. Thankfully, we got our house a few months ago, and we were both able to quit our second jobs. For the first time, we only work regular 9-to-5s. I've discovered I really like gardening and baking, and I love having a real home. We have been discussing adding to our family by having a baby, and I feel very ready to be a mom. Scared still, yes, but ready. But my husband brought up how sad I would be if I had to quit since I've worked so hard. I told him I had zero plans to quit, I would only take maternity leave. Plus, my company allows maternal and paternal remote options for 1 year after birth, so I can just work from home if needed. I know it's a lot to do with a newborn, but giving up the security of my paycheck is simply not an option. He told me this was what we worked for, to make our own perfect family opposite from what ours were like, and I was blindsiding him by changing my plans. I told him no plan has changed. I can have a career and be a mom, and that plenty of women do it. He doesn't have to quit his job to be a dad, so why should I? He said it wouldn't work for a baby's needs, and I told him okay, since I make more money than you do, why don't you quit, and I go back to work remotely after healing from birth. That way, we have both hands on deck, and we don't have a severe loss of income as I make $89K while he makes $52K. He mentioned that if I trusted him fully, this shouldn't be a problem. I told him I trust him, but I don't trust our current economy. However, I left out that I genuinely think quitting my job with no savings and relying on a man is absolutely stupid. He had plans made previously with his parents and had to leave, so we said we would pick the conversation back up when he gets home. But he's very upset and madder than I have ever seen him before, and I don't understand why he just assumed I would quit. Not only do I not understand it, but it makes me trust him a lot less than I did yesterday. I have a bad habit of running for the hills when problems come up, and not gonna lie, this is making me really nervous. Update 1. It's been a few days since he came home and told me he met a girl at work, and that she's a better woman than me. She already has a son and will be a stay-at-home wife or girlfriend or whatever. He texted me right before I got off work and asked me to pick up food from one of our usual date night spots. I got home and noticed his car had boxes in it, and a woman I didn't know. I tried opening the door, but it was locked, and she just looked at me. What little was left of our savings, he took, along with both of our cats. I didn't see this coming at all, and I haven't told any of my friends yet. His adoptive parents have been dropping off food that I can't even force myself to eat. I'm kind of still in shock, and I wish I had a family to run to. I haven't answered any of his calls or texts, and he keeps trying to check in, asking if I'm okay. How the F would I be okay? I never thought he would be capable of cheating. I asked him to promise to tell me if there was ever someone else, that he would just tell me as soon as he knew, but they've been together for at least 6 months. So while he was calling me selfish for not wanting to put in my 2 weeks and be a stay-at-home wife, he was dating her the entire time, planning a future with her the entire time. When I asked him to go to therapy, he wouldn't. His parents think he's having some type of mental breakdown. I should have stayed afraid of him and avoided him. I should have chosen a better outcome for myself. I just feel like the same girl that no one wants to love anymore, all over again. I know what he did isn't my fault. I know I could never stop him, and really, do I want a man who doesn't want me? Of course not, but that just doesn't stop it from hurting. Update 2. There have been a few things that have happened, and I couldn't help but for days compare us and wonder what he could have been thinking, until I realized she's a carbon copy of his biological mother, or at least the stories he heard about her since she passed away when he was 5. I hate that I feel bad for him still, even after what he's done. But we offered him support for his thoughts, we urged him to go to therapy. I even offered to pay for it myself, but he was too prideful. I lost both of my parents too, at an older age with even more core memories with them, so it wasn't a boat he was in alone, but he chose to act like it was, and wallow in self-pity. He called me on our 7-year wedding anniversary, minutes after midnight, whispering apologies and saying he feels so guilty. I asked for what, and he just said, well, you know. What we're going through. I told him, no, it's what you're doing. We are going through nothing. I was abandoned by my husband, exposed to God knows what while he was with her and coming back home to me. We were still having bedroom intimacy every day, so I made sure he knew just how disgusting I thought he was. Then he got angry and told me he only started cheating because I couldn't follow his directions. Excuse me, look where you led yourself. Our entire marriage, I pushed him career-wise. Hell, the job he is right now, I applied to on his behalf. Meanwhile, I'm pretty sure he doesn't, or didn't even know what my full job title is. I pushed him to reach out to the adoptive parents when he started getting family obsessed, but neither of us was ready for a kid. He went on about how I broke my promise first when I decided I didn't want to be a real mom by not quitting. That I was turning his adoptive parents against him because they are refusing to meet his new girlfriend. He blamed me again and then had the nerve to say that this could all be put on pause if I can learn how to make decisions that benefit a family and not myself. I asked point blank if he was insinuating that we could get back together if I quit my job. He told me yes, I will always love you, but you make things more difficult than needed. I hung up and blocked him on everything. I spent the rest of the night hugging wine in the bathtub and wondering what the hell kind of person I had been sharing my heart with. The next day he went public with their relationship, posting a photo on Instagram, and most of our mutual friends reached out, with my closest friends commenting less than kind things on the photo. As it turns out, he and his new girlfriend have been together for 7, almost 8 months. She is 20, her son is around 2. I reached out to her ex, the father of her son, whom she had left to be with my ex-husband. She moved out in the middle of the day and took their kid, so he was just as blindsided, if not more, than I was. We met up, went for a walk, stopped by a bar, literally cried, laughed, hugged each other, sang songs way too loudly, and sobbed in public like lunatics, but it helped so much. We also made sure to exchange evidence for any court battles. I'm a little iffy towards him for now, considering that they had quite the age gap. She was 17 when they met, and he was 26. He said she lied about her age, and they met at a college party, and the next thing he knew, she was pregnant. He gave her money for a deletion, but she came back with baby clothes instead, so he tried to do the right thing and moved her in with him. He admitted he had cheated on her before their son was born, while she was pregnant, but she didn't tell him she knew until after she had moved out with their son. He said he was still texting her every day, not just about their son but also about possibly working things out. He wants her back, but she seems to be head over heels for my husband, just like I was. I told him good luck, but yeah, not the direction I'm going in at all. This time he made his bed, and he will lay in it for good. Our chances of reconciliation are 0. I have never accepted someone back into my life after a betrayal, and it won't start now. At first, I wanted to make sure the divorce was going to be short and as simple as possible, even if it meant giving up some things. But after that conversation, I have decided on fighting tooth and nail for everything I can possibly get. I live in a no-fault divorce state, and the divorce attorney I've consulted said it looks pretty good that I won't have to pay him alimony. He also told me to look into every single banking transaction in my accounts, as he did not think they got an apartment on his income without some extra cushion, aka my money, and he was right. Last year, my ex-husband told me he got really into stock trading and if he could invest some of my money as well. Guess who was never doing any stock trading, and the screenshots he showed me were all fake, and he had been sending that money to his girlfriend or saving it for their new place. I've been pretty enraged since finding that out. He asked his adoptive parents to ask me to allow him visitation rights to see the cats, after he had to give them back once he realized his new girlfriend was allergic to them. I relayed that he needs to first run me my freaking money, and then take it up with the judge. I didn't think visitation was a real thing for pets, but according to my lawyer, it very much is. I officially filed for divorce yesterday, and he emailed me quite the colorful email about how selfish and bitter I am for not putting my pride aside and being so fast to file for divorce. I read somewhere that you never really know someone until you're divorcing them, and I can truly confirm that is true. Update 3. I had to pick up another job to make sure I'd be able to afford the house on my own. Most of my workdays are spent in collars and heels, but the side job is an overpriced membership-only gym that I definitely can't afford without my employee discount. I've had a few guys approach me since I filed the divorce paperwork, but I just wasn't feeling up to it. And even though I stopped wearing my ring the day he moved out, I still felt guilty, like I was betraying him. I spent a decade learning everything about him, and now having to switch gears is really damn hard. But one of the guys I see often at the gym asked if I'd be his date to a seminar he's sponsoring. I said no at first, and he accepted the no very gracefully. I saw him a few days later, sparked up some conversation, and asked if maybe we could try a lunch date first. I was fully prepared for him to tell me no, but he said yes, and we met up a few hours later and it went really well. He's a pretty charming man and has a lot of random knowledge about safari animals. He asked me out for a dinner date the next day. I asked if he wanted to stop by and grab a breakfast sandwich before I left for work. I have a 9-year-old cat who hates most people, but she loved him and even let him touch her belly. He dropped me off lunch at work and we met up for dinner, and ever since we've been texting almost nonstop. I've never felt this comfortable with someone so fast in my life. It's scary, but I've already told him that we're separated. I haven't told him the nitty-gritty details, just that it didn't work out and we outgrew each other. The teenage girl I used to be would never believe this crap, but more than anything I'm grateful for the support of my friends who got me through the tough nights so I could make it to the good ones. Only up from here, I guess.